How you doing, everybody? Welcome back to Stand Focused for Jesus. Hope each and every one of you are having a blessed day in the Lord Jesus Christ as always. Let's talk about some money. Y'all like money, don't you? Some of you love money, but hopefully you just like money and you don't love it. Or you're going to sell your soul for it and do all this crazy stuff to get it. The question at hand is the economy going to collapse? Is the economy going to collapse? Is it all going to fall apart? Yes and no. Yes and no. What do I mean? Well, all of us have cut grass before in our lives. And that grass, it gets high. And once it gets high, it needs to be cut. Sometimes it gets out of control. It gets out of control. And you go in there and you cut that grass, or you pay somebody to cut the grass for you so it can be back level. It can be back where it needs to be. In the game, in the world of money, in the game, in the world of the economy, however you want to put it, you have ups and downs. It's always been like that. You have different seasons. Season for this, a season for that. A time to bail, a time to bail. A time to bail, time to bail out, time not to bail out, right? A time to sell and a time to buy. A time to sell and a time to buy, right? It's the same thing when it comes to money and the economy. It's the same thing when it comes to cutting your grass. When that grass gets out of control, it needs to be brought back under control so it can look presentable. The grass that's high and the weeds that are in the grass, they don't want to be cut. They want to continue to go wild and do wild things and basically take over until it looks like a big old overgrown piece of property. Everybody likes a nice manicured, manicured land, grass cut, looking good, yard looking good, right? It's the same thing with the economy. It's the same thing with, let's say, forest. They have controlled forest fires to do what? To help clear out a lot of the brush, but also so it can grow better. When you study the forest and you study why they set the forest and why they set pieces of land on fire purposely, the land comes back stronger. It comes back more nutrient dense, which means the grass is going to look better, the vegetation is going to look better, the food is going to grow better, all the different things. So again, it's the same thing when it comes to the economy. So yes and no, we're going to have a collapse. Now we know ultimately there has to be such a collapse to bring in what's known as a new world order. We know that. How bad is it going to be? Don't know how bad it's going to be, but of course, I mean, it's bad now. It was bad when in the COVID situation. When that time period comes where it collapses enough where they're forced to bring in a new world order and this new currency or however they're going to do it, we ain't got to explain all that. It's going to be bad. Are we going to be here for that? Probably. Are we not? Don't know. But we'll probably be here to suffer through some of it as a test. Now, we know that we don't go through the New World Order. We don't go through the time of Jacob trouble because that's not for us. That's for the disobedient. That's for the ones that continue to be disobedient. It doesn't mean that we aren't going to suffer. It doesn't mean that we aren't going to go through different things. This is why you go through the different things you go through in life right now. So when these great tests and trials and tribulations of your faith happen, you're already prepared for it. You're already prepared for it. You making your money and stuff like that, you should be putting money aside, or I should say you should be taking that money, putting it aside, and buying food just in case. I mean, that's just common sense anyway. It's common sense anyway. Stuff happens. Joseph did it. He stored up for all those years to make sure everybody was taken care of. And even if you're not buying food, you got we talk about gold and silver and stuff like that. If you have the means to do it, yeah, get you some gold and get you some silver. The issue isn't that. The issue is when people are relying on these riches. They're thinking that the money, they're thinking the gold, the silver, whatever is going to save them. It's not going to save them. Because eventually it's not going to be worth nothing. It's not going to be worth nothing. Now, let me tell you the greatest lie they're telling people right now. The greatest lie they're telling people right now. Ain't no money out here. You shouldn't be buying no houses, blase, 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 blase. What I've learned is when the mainstream media, however you want to put it, when they're pushing something, it's probably best to do the opposite. Of course, you're going to do your research, but it's probably best to do the opposite. Now, they're telling you ain't no money out here, but during COVID, these companies, they broke records. I'm talking about records that just ridiculous how much amount of money they made. They're telling you ain't no money. Elon Musk, one of the richest people in the world, I think right now, he's the richest person in the world. Do you know when he made most of his money? Yep, during COVID. They're telling you there's no money. They're telling you not to buy a house. They're telling you about interest rates and this and this and this. Interest rates has always been around. You're going to have high interest rates. You're going to have low interest rates. If you buy at the right price, listen to what I'm saying. If you buy the house at the right price, then you have more wiggle room when it comes to interest rates. So if you do have a higher interest rate, then guess what? It's not going to hurt you as much because you bought at the right price. It doesn't matter if interest rates were 1% or 2%. You still should be buying at the right price. When I renovated the house that we currently have, I bought it at the right price. When I renovated the house that we have, lumber was $8 to $9. I renovated that house when lumber was at the all-time high. And guess what? I could sell that house I could really sell it for like, let's say, 65. I would say 65,000 and basically I think break even. Maybe 70. I can't remember right now. The house is worth $125,000 or more. I bought the house at the right price to sustain that. And that was the wisdom of God who allowed me to go through that situation to learn what I needed to learn. Because if I can go through that and do a house, then, you know, the rest is history. I'm gonna knock everything else out the park. I'm not saying I'm not gonna have any trials and tribulations, but I'm gonna knock everything else out the park because I went through that situation. I went through a tough situation that was tough for basically the whole world, right? In the Word of God, it tells us, what does it tell us, Lord? It tells us in the last days, they're not going to be studying the gospel. And we see that. It is hard to get people to pay attention to what we say. Oh, they either already know it, oh, I know it, I'm good, blase, blase. Or they just don't want to hear it at all. Okay, you don't want to hear it at all, that's on you. But in that same scripture, he says, they continue to what? They continue to build, they continue to sell, they continue to eat, they continue to drink, they continue to marry, and they continue to be given in marriage. It doesn't mean that we're not allowed to eat. It doesn't mean that we're not allowed to drink and marry and have children. It doesn't mean that we can't make our money, but we're not focused on that. They're just focused on that. They're like, we ain't studying the gospel. We ain't studying Christ coming back. We're supposed to occupy until he comes, right? We know all this. They continue as if things are going to continue to stay the same way that they are. We know eventually Christ is coming. He's going to wreck shop, and then we're going to rule and reign under his rulership. The point I'm making with all this is the Bible tells you that they continue to build, they continue to plant, they continue to buy and sell, all these different things. Meaning the economy kept on going. The economy kept on going no matter. We see that right now. You have all these storms and, crazy weather, but they keep on going like this is normal. They keep on going like it is normal. Why? Because they don't care. They think they're going to be able to build their way out of what's to come. Okay, it's getting hotter and hotter and hotter and hotter. Well, we're going to block out the sun, or we're going to go underground, or we're going to do this, we're going to do that. That's why they keep on investing money in technology to come up with new technological advances to be able to offset the judgment of God. Banks make money. Turn it down for a second. Banks make money how? Banks make money lending money. Banks make money lending money. One more time. Banks make money lending money. You can say banks make money off of houses and cars. No, they make money off of lending the money for you to be able to buy that house, for you to be able to buy that car, for you to be able to get that personal loan or that business credit or whatever it is. So when they tell you ain't no money out here, that's a bunch of bull jive. Yes, the stipulations may become stricter for you to get access to that money because of different things, but they still lend money. The banks do not want to hold on to the money. They want to give you the money and, qualified buyers or whatever, so they can make money, because that's how they make money. One more time. Banks make money off of lending money. So therefore, if banks make money off of lending money, then how in the hell ain't no money? They have to lend the money out so they can make the money off of the money they lend you in whatever it is. Because most people are not operating in cash. They're operating, let me get a loan for this house. Let me get a loan for this car. Let me get a loan for this. Let me get a loan for that. Let me borrow this. Let me borrow that. Or, even if you're working. You may say, well, I don't operate that way because, I'm renting. Well, guess what? You don't own a house, so you still got to pay for somewhere to live. That house that you're renting, somebody owns that house, and most likely it's an investor. They have a mortgage on it that they got from the bank. Therefore, the banks are still making money by lending money. Whether you are buying your own house or you are renting. You're going to buy or you're going to rent or you're going to live on the street. Which one is it? Most of us, we're not living on the street. This 2024, let's just be real. I'm not being homeless. Unless I got to. I got a whole family. I'm not a whole family. Now, I've done it before. I've lived out my truck and it was pretty fun, but it was by choice. It was by choice because that was something that I wanted to experience in life. How does it feel to live this way? And I had my business. I had my cleaning service. I was living out my truck. And nobody really knew. I was doing sermons. I was preaching to y'all, living out of my truck. Why? Because I wanted to. I wanted to experience that. And then after that, that's when I moved into a hotel, because that was something that I wanted to do. I always wanted to live in a hotel. And I was staying in there, and God said, you always wanted to see how it is to live out of a hotel. You're living in a hotel. And I looked around and said, well, I am living in a hotel. God will allow you to experience these different things in life. So are we going to have a collapse? Yes and no. When we do have a collapse, then there's going to come something else in. You have to have these collapses to reset things back so that they're stable. It's just the way it goes. If my beard gets out of control, like, man, I need to trim it. My beard is looking crazy. My mustache is looking crazy. Let me trim it so it looks presentable. Let me trim it so it's not out of control. Because then, it's doing all type of, like, dang, bro, like, what's going on? Like, what's going on? I just gave you many examples. Banks make money off of lending money. Therefore, there's always money available. You just have to figure out how to get access to that money. If they have certain stipulations in regards to credit, then you make sure that your credit surpasses that. Why? Because the Bible tells you to do all things unto the Lord. Did it say do some things unto the Lord? It said do all things unto the Lord. So if we have bills to pay, then guess what? Pay your bills unto the Lord. If you got credit, pay your credit unto the Lord. If you're going to utilize that credit and leverage that credit to grow your wealth or grow whatever it is, then guess what? Do it unto the Lord. So if they got stipulations, okay, we used to want a 600. Now we looking for a 620, 650 or higher or whatever. Okay, they looking for a minimum 620, really like a 650. Guess what? I'm finna hit them with a 700. I'm finna hit them with a 700 or higher. Now they can't say nothing. They can't say, well, you're right there. You did the bare minimum. No, go above and beyond. Shoot for that 800 credit score. But make sure your credit profile is solid too. Don't just do the minimum. I'm in the process. I've been in the process last year or so building my business credit, and it's an investment. You gotta. This is an investment. I've been grinding, to get to this point, and hopefully by the end of this year, it eventually pay off where I'm able to get the business lines of credit and stuff like that. That's the big boy money. And then I'll be able to take that money in combination with the equity we're going to pull out of the house, hopefully by the end of the year, to take the business credit and the equity, combine it to start our next project. They want certain requirements, or you can't go to the next step. Okay, so they want 3 trade lines before I can go to this step. Well, I want 7 trade lines. I want 8 trade lines on this one. So when I go to the next step and they say we want 7, I'm already at 7. So now instead of 7, I'm gonna get 4 or 5 more or 3 more. Now I'm at 10. So when I go to the next step and they want 10, I already got 10. So I'm adding 12 or 14 when they want 10. So when I get to the point where they want 14 trade lines, I'm pushing for 20 trade lines. You see what I'm saying? Stop doing the bare minimum. Go above and beyond. Invest in yourself because Christ has invested in you. Banks make money off of making money. Money is going to continue to circulate until it doesn't. And even when it doesn't, it's still going to circulate because they're going to bring in a new world order. They're going to continue to loan money. They're going to continue to build. They're going to continue to buy and sell because the Bible tells you that. The Bible tells you that. All I see is construction. Oh, ain't no money, but I'm seeing them build multi-million-dollar apartment complexes. We talking about that's in like 2 or 3 or 4 phases. We talking about like 100 million or more, but ain't no money. Hot Springs is only a place of 32,000 people. They sure is building a lot. They bring in Amazon here, but ain't no money. They bring in Chipotle here, but ain't no money. They bring in Burlington Coat Factory, but ain't no money. They bring in it's something else they bring in, but ain't no money. They bring in Amazon here, but ain't no money. Man, stop it. Stop it. There's no money for the consumers. We have to stop walking in the mindset of being consumers and start walking in the mindset of being producers. Well, I don't know who to sell my product to. You don't have to find out who to sell your product to, because if your product is what it is, then people are going to buy it because they're already looking for it. You just have to get your product in front of the people. And then they will get it because you're solving somebody's problem. You're solving somebody's problem. People love chicken, so what do? We're going to open up chicken restaurants. You got Popeyes, you got Church's, you got KFC, you got Cane's. What else you got? You got Zaxby's. You got some more healthier alternatives for chicken and stuff like that. They solve the problem. You got Chick-fil-A. I don't really rock with Chick-fil-A because Chick-fil-A claim to be Christian, but they putting all them chemicals in the food. But hey, I eat their French fries every now and then, and they what is that, lemonade ice cream or whatever every now and then, maybe like 2 or 3 times a year. But there's a problem. People want chicken. Let's be the solution. When you do that, you don't have to chase money. The money gonna come to you because the money came out of you. The money, the wealth is coming out of you. I keep on telling y'all that. Somebody came up with an idea. I'm gonna start a Chick-fil-A. That idea came from within them. Now people are going every single day. They're making millions of dollars, multi-millions every single day. It's always gonna be money going around. It's always gonna be rich. It's always gonna be the poor. Banks make money off of lending money. If they stop lending money, then guess what? The world basically stops. Nations lend money to other nations. So, to answer your question, for those who have been wondering, that answers it. Y'all have a blessed one.